You look different.
Oh, my mustache maybe.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you very much for coming to the show to this COVID-19 special program.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, how are you? How are you coping with the COVID-19 pandemic? You are coaching, right? No.
Yes. I'm. The pandemic has been challenging for many people, but luckily, for myself and my family, we've been able to stay healthy and properly social distancing. So here in BC, we've had our cases a bit more under control, and we've actually taken the extra time to get outside and enjoy what this beautiful province has to offer. And then also reassessing kind of my career, my choices beyond skating, because a lot of my skating tours, my skating shows got canceled in April and May. So I had to really start thinking about, okay, if I can't do shows anymore, I really have to start planning for the future and planning for what else I'm going to do beyond Patrick the performer. So I've done some coaching, online coaching early on in the pandemic. I did a lot of online Zoom classes, and then now we're getting back to the rink, so I'm doing some coaching at the ice rink. I'm also studying, trying to get past my national level certification for coaching. And then also my real estate license, trying to keep keep my mind busy and study and nurture the mind, especially right now when we're spending so much time at home.
When you retired, you said figure skating is a journey. It's just this period before you, because you are still very young. So when you think about the future right now, what's your plan? And then what's the goal?
Well, I think the goal is always to stay present in the journey, like you mentioned. I think it's sometimes I find, especially during my career, I was planning always 4 years. Every 4 years, every Olympic Games was the plan, and that was the goal, and everything else was planned around that. But now I kind of want to do the opposite. I don't want to plan, and yes, there's a plan, but maybe shorter how do I say, like shorter term goals,
shorter term
goals, exactly. So I look at more of one thing at a time, with getting my coaching courses and the real estate, and once I get those, then we look forward into the next chapter and the next opportunity, because I think when we're getting so far ahead, that creates a lot of anxiety, and especially right now with the pandemic and spending a lot of time at home and a lot of alone time, it's important to be mentally healthy and mentally aware of your process, your thought process. And staying positive. So I've really taken to heart the idea of balancing work and life, and especially here in BC, we have so many opportunities to get outside and explore nature around us.
Nature, that's beautiful.
So like I've been trying to balance both, getting learning and working, and also getting outside and enjoying.
True. Recently, you joined some Asian Canadian celebrities wearing masks and then delivering the message of anti-racism, especially racism against the Asian Chinese during the COVID-19 pandemic. Why do you want to lend your voice? How important is it to you?
It's very important to me, because as a Chinese Canadian, both my parents are immigrated to Canada from China and Hong Kong. So for me, it's extremely important, because that's my heritage, and the Chinese community has helped me so much through my own career, and they played such a big role in my success, and they made it possible for me to realize my dreams. So with that in mind, and my career and the success I've had in my career, and I have a bit of I think I'm well known in Canadian sports. I think it's my duty and my responsibility to talk about it and bring to light some of the issues that are happening around the world, and even in Canada, unfortunately, some of the attacks towards the Chinese community, the Asian community. So that's been my motivation, is to bring light to it and help use my platform to help this cause. The past few months since the pandemic has started, there's been this dialogue of that this virus has come from China, and it's because of Chinese people that this disease exists, and they're the reason for this pandemic. And unfortunately, the reaction has been sometimes negative. In Vancouver, we've had some monuments, some defacing of monuments, vandalism, storefronts being vandalized here in Vancouver, in Chinatown, and in downtown Vancouver. And like I mentioned, the older gentleman who was assaulted outside a convenience store. I think it's so shocking, because I feel like in Canada, I felt as a elite athlete representing Canada internationally, I felt proud of the fact that Canada stands up for equality and stands up for the safety of everyone, no matter your skin color, no matter your history, your heritage. So to see that, I think I feel like we as Canadians need to do better. There can't be these types of events and tragic events that hurt people, and we're better than that in Canada. We're better than that as Canadians. So I think there's more important things to be focused on than hatred.
Than hatred or blaming certain group of people.
Yeah, we can't be using our energy for hate. We need to be really embracing our duty as Canadian citizens to work together to stay healthy and get through this storm of this tragic pandemic.
True. You think you will continue doing this? You will continue work with the CCNC or other organizations to promote this?
For sure, I want to lend my voice and my the little influence I have to talk about it and have the discussion. I think I don't think attacking or getting mad at people who have done some horrible things, I don't think that's the right direction. I think we need to just make everybody feel welcome to voice their opinion, and then we educate, and then educating everybody of the challenges or the hardships of racism and why it still exists in Canada. I've recently I've joined a work group in Skate Canada, which is our Canadian federation, figure skating federation. We've created a diversity and inclusion work group to hopefully begin reviewing policies and making changes to the policies to promote equality, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Of course, there's still, even within Skate Canada, there's sometimes I think first and foremost, we need to begin by educating ourselves. I need to educate myself. I'm not an expert. I'm just starting to grasp the issues at hand and how do we tackle those issues. I'm not the expert. There's many people out there who have the experience, and I'm doing my part by listening to them and giving the Black community, the Indigenous community, a voice, because that's what's important right now.
You grew up in Canada and you were a very successful athlete. Have you ever personally experienced racism during your career? If any.
Yeah. It's sometimes racism isn't obvious. It's not it doesn't stand out, and sometimes it takes time to reflect and look back into my memories and remember these moments where there was never direct, I never experienced direct racism, personally, but it's more of the way the environment I was in. There was, I think, for example, when I grew up, I looked up to Brian Orser, I looked up to Kurt Browning, I looked up to Elvis Stoico. All of them are Caucasian males, and there was never really a Chinese Canadian, a Canadian who looked Chinese or Asian, of Asian descent, who was at the top of Canada, representing Canada on the international stage. I never had that to look up to. Luckily now, I believe skating has made big steps forward in terms of having more of an Asian presence in the sport. I think that you see that now. Some of the top skaters, we have many top skaters who are of Asian descent. So I like to feel like I played a small part of that, and I like to think
you're very humble.
I think that's there is change happening. So I never experienced a traumatic event, but there was moments in my life, especially when I was younger, early teens, where I felt like I almost had to subdue my Chinese heritage, and become more westernized and more Caucasian to fit in with the rest of my peers in my sport.
And can you give me some examples?
Yeah. I like I mentioned earlier, there's when I grew up as a junior skater coming up into the senior ranks, I remember going to international competitions in Eastern Europe, and for me, I felt always this. I was never forced to feel this way. It was just the visual influence, the feeling I got from what I watched on TV and then what I saw at competitions in real time. I felt like I needed to almost erase my Chinese background, or I never skated to any kind of Oriental music. I was always, my mom even told me, like, no, I do not want you to skate to Chinese music, because I think maybe for fear of being judged for skating to music that my history has created. So yeah, I just felt like, basically what I'm trying to say is I felt this sense of trying to be more Caucasian. I had to try to be more Caucasian in order to be more successful, or more or less judged on my appearances as opposed to my abilities.
At this moment, during this pandemic, to young Asian Chinese Canadian, what is your personal message to them?
I think first of all, don't let anyone stop you from realizing your dreams, and always remember where you came from and your heritage, and because that is your identity at the end of the day. That's who you are. And for me, my Chinese heritage is, I look at my parents and I think about all the sacrifice they made to come to Canada. So we have every right to be proud of being Chinese, and we are proud to be Canadian. And look at how far your dreams can be realized in a place like Canada, where I'm an example of someone who was lucky enough to have realized my biggest dreams. And so don't lose hope, and stand up and use your voice, be proud of your identity, because you're unique, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.